Hi everyone! My name is Katy, and thank you for joining me for another reading journal video. Today we are working on my end of the year TBR and a continuation of my bookshelf tracker, so let's get started. So this is what the bookshelf tracker in the beginning of my journal looks like. You can watch some of my other videos to see this more in detail, but I have clearly filled this one up and I need to create an extension. So that is what we are doing today. And I've already drawn out the shelves and the books and everything, but today we are going to be putting pen to paper, adding washi tape and stickers and decorations. And then I'm also doing a 10 before the end TBR, which is 10 books that I hope to read before the end of the year. So to start out this spread, I'm using this amazing washi tape by Notebook Therapy. It's part of their newer collection called Lunar Delivery. And I just love the scalloped edges. I love this really light lavender color mixed with the darker purple and all of the gold accents. It is totally my vibe. And I also wanted this spread to kind of complement the bookshelf tracker spread that's in the front of my journal without being a direct copy. And I thought that this was the perfect washi tape to do so. So I put that on each side of the spread, and I also thought it was cool how the scalloped edging kind of mimicked the way that I do my little Dutch door with my scalloped scissors. So overall, I really love this washi tape here. So once I have the washi tape down, I'm getting started on the decoration. I'm using this portrait of a witch and her cat from MarigonaSuliArt, as well as some other MarigonaSuli stickers, including this really cute shelf with some books and potion making essentials. And I used those to help me figure out the spacing for the bookshelves themselves. So now I'm going in with my pen to draw over my pencil lines and draw in those bookshelves. My bookshelf tracker at the front of my journal can hold all of the books through the end of September. So this bookshelf tracker only needed to hold October through December. So I have about 20 books drawn on here, though I don't think I will fill them all up, but I have room to do so if I do read that many books before the end of the year. I definitely recommend going in with pencil before you put pen to paper if you're going to be doing a bookshelf spread like this. Getting the spacing right can be a bit tricky, and I know I make a lot of mistakes and I am very reliant on my pencil for most of my book spreads in my journal, so just thought I would mention that as well. When I'm planning out the shelves themselves, I knew that I wanted to include some stickers and decorative elements, so I didn't want it to be all books for the tracker. So I left some space for different little things that you might find on a bookshelf in a witch's library. That's kind of my whole vibe. And all of the stickers today are from MarigonaSuliArt, as always. I also should mention that I did this spread at the beginning of November, so at the time of recording this, I've already read some of the 10 before the end books that I will get to in a little bit, but I didn't know that at this time, obviously. So once I have all of the books and shelves drawn in, I'm going in and drawing the different potion bottles on the bottom shelf. And I did this the exact same way that I did it in the front of the journal. So I made 5 different potion bottles for my key for coloring in the star rating for each of my books. I also have a little bookmark that I keep with me that reminds me exactly which marker each of these potion bottles are colored in with. I'm already thinking about 2025 and my journal for next year, obviously, and if I do something different for my bookshelf pages, it will be to make the colors of the potion bottles more different from each other, because the way that I have them now, they're like all different shades of purple, which looks really nice, but it can be hard to tell if it is a 4 or a 5 just based on the color alone. But like everything, when it comes to maintaining a journal like this over years, you learn things and implement them into your next year's journal. So more of that to come whenever I actually set up my 2025 journal. I also know that I am pretty far behind on my reading journal updates for my monthly spreads, but fear not, they will be coming. I am just a huge procrastinator, so that is my reality. So now I am working on the 10 before the end page. I'm drawing in those 3 shelves for the books themselves, and then also penning in my title. And then once I have all of my initial pen in, I am going in with my eraser and taking out all of those pencil lines. This is such a satisfying step to me, but make sure that your pen is dry before you do this, because I've had some horror stories with this step before. So now it's time to draw in the wood grain on all of my shelves. This is something that, again, I did in the beginning of my journal, and then I've also done it in all of my other setups, so my monthly setups and different TBRs and things like that. So it really just keeps the consistency through my whole journal. And one thing that I'm really proud of my journal this year for is how consistent it feels from month to month. I just have really, really enjoyed it so far this year, and I can't wait to do my final flip through at the beginning of next year once it is completely filled out, and to just look at how consistent and cohesive everything looks. And part of that is doing this wood grain texture on all of my shelves. And I really just kind of freehand these little swirlies on the shelves themselves, and I don't take it too seriously, but it's pretty relaxing to make this pattern, and I think it looks pretty good, pretty effective as wood. So then once I have that wood grain done, I'm going to go in and color in those potion bottles according to the same color scale as in the front of my journal. And you can see what I mean by them all being different shades of purple. Then I am going in with my marker and coloring in the shelves themselves. And again, I always use the same color to color in my shelves so that they all look very cohesive. And I really like the feeling that this is just the look into my witch's library. So throughout my whole journal, I just love that the vibe is totally like that. This part always feels very satisfying because it's like you created a coloring book page for yourself and now you get to fill it in. So I'm always pretty happy once I get to this step and I know that I am completely done with my pen. And then I go over the marker a couple times over the wood grain so that it's a little bit darker there. And I'm doing the same thing on the 10 before the end page. Then I'm going in with my pen and adding little decorative lines to the spines. I guess I don't really know what these are supposed to be, but they just help them look like books. So I do this for each of the books on the book tracker. And again, this is something that I do throughout my whole journal, so it's just a consistency thing for me. And again, it just helps them look a little bit more like books instead of blobs. Next, I'm adding some shading to my title on the 10 before the end page. So just doing my usual fake calligraphy method here. And this 10 before the end trend is something that I saw a few people doing here on Booktube and Bookstagram. So I thought I would add it to my journal as well. And it's just a TBR of 10 books that I would love to read before the end of the year. And again, this was for November and December because I made it a couple weeks ago. And I have read a couple of these books already. And I don't think I'm going to be able to read all 10 of them. I would love if I could, but just realistically, I probably won't be able to. But that's okay. I can read them at the beginning of 2025 as well. So next I'm going to be adding in those decorative stickers to my bookshelves, so the different stickers that I left space for when putting in the different books. And these are again from MarigonaSuliArt. Most of them are book related, but then I also added in some kind of apothecary feeling ones as well. I really love these hanging herbs and the little mouse sleeping in the plant pot. I think they are so cute and I absolutely love all of the colors. So then I'm going to start working on the bookshelves for the 10 before the end. I have 3 shelves and 10 books, so I'm putting 3 on the top, 4 in the middle, and 3 on the bottom. And again, I left a little bit of space to add some little decorative stickers to the top and bottom shelves. And I really tried to pick a diverse-ish range of books as far as for me and my enjoyment. So I have like a novella, a short story collection, but then I also have a 1,000-page epic fantasy. I have some romantasy, a historical fiction. I have young adult romance as well as one adult romance. So a bit of variety, at least as far as my kind of variety goes. So for some reason I started pasting them in from the bottom shelf, but I will talk about them from the order of the top shelf. So the first book that I chose was A Storm of Swords, which is the third A Song of Ice and Fire book by George R.R. Martin. And it is one of my favorite books of all time. So I've really been wanting to reread it. And who knows, I might get the urge to reread it in December. I'm not sure yet. But I've been kind of craving those vibes recently, and I, of course, really love that book, so that was my first choice. Then I chose The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, which just came out in November. It is the next Crowns of Nyaxia book, and it is the start of the second duology in that series. So it's following new characters, and I'm really excited for it. It's a new release, and I love Carissa Broadbent, so that one is definitely high on my list. The next book is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen, and I read one of her other books earlier this year and really loved it, so I want to take a stab at this series as well. The next book is The Half King by Melissa Landers, and I honestly don't know much about this other than that it is fantasy romance, but I got the Fairy Loot version of this book and it is beautiful, and it has the most amazing character art in it, and the character art makes me really want to read the book. So we'll see how that one goes. The next book is A Curious Beginning, and this is a start of a historical fiction series by Deanna Raybourn. And this is coming off of a recommendation, I guess, from my mom, who has read all of her books. And if I'm wanting something different from my usual fantasy vibe, I thought that this was a good option for that. The next book is another new release, and this is Olivie Blake's Januaries. And this is an anthology, and these are supposed to be stories of love, magic, and betrayal. I know that she touches on a lot of things here, fairy tales, gods and mythology, all kinds of stuff, and I really don't know what it's about, but I totally love her writing vibe, and I've been craving that vibe, so I definitely have this one high on my list. The next book is Brewed in Magic, and this is the second book in the Falling for Fables series by Jenna Wolfhart, and comes after Forged by Magic, and follows a character that we briefly met in the first one. So if I want that kind of dragon romantasy vibe, I will pick this one. And then we have Spectacular by Stephanie Garber, and this is the new Caraval novella, and it is a holiday story, so it totally fits the vibe for December. I have no idea what happens in Spectacular other than that it follows our four main characters from the original trilogy, but her books have such a whimsical, fun vibe that I think it will be perfect in a holiday story, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one in December. So the next book is Dungeons and Drama, and this is a young adult contemporary romance. And what I know about this one is that our main character's dad owns a board game shop where she has to work, and she meets our guy who plays Dungeons and Dragons, and she joins his campaign. And I think she might be a bard based on the cover. And I've played D&D, my husband's really into D&D, so I thought this one would be a super fun read for me. And if I want something lighter and more fun, I will give this one a go. And then the 10th book that I've chosen for this end of the year TBR is Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. And this is her newest STEM romance, I believe. Last winter, at the end of 2023, I read all of Ali Hazelwood's books, and I read them like back to back to back and got very tired of them. But it's been a while since I've read one of her contemporary romances, so I'm hoping that I will enjoy this one. I did really enjoy The Love Hypothesis, so I hope that I enjoy this one as well. This one is about, I think, bioengineers and food science, and I studied a little bit of food science in college, so I may be able to relate. Who knows? We will see. But again, if I want something a bit lighter and more just fun vibes, I will choose this one. And those are the 10 books that I've chosen for my end of the year TBR. So to finish off this page, I'm just going in with my markers and adding a bunch of little dots and stars and twinklies, like I do on most of my spreads, just to fill in the empty space. But overall, I think that these pages turned out super cute and definitely match the vibe and aesthetic of my journal, specifically that front bookshelf page in my journal. So I'm very happy with how they turned out. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. And if you'd like to see more from me, be sure to hit subscribe. I'll be posting a lot more reading journal content throughout the end of this year and into 2025. So be sure to stick around if you'd like to see that. And you can also watch all of the reading journal videos that I've posted so far in the playlist that I will have linked here on screen and down below. I hope that you and yours are staying safe, happy, and healthy throughout this holiday season, and I will see you again next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.